Hey guys, Dylan with Onyx. So I've also in another video dove into basically all the layers that are valuable for Western big game hunting in my opinion. But I want to take a second and dive in a little bit deeper on one that I think gets overlooked a lot of times, and that is our crop data. For Western big game specifically, this can be a very valuable tool, some really helpful information and data to look at on the map. So we'll dive in. I'll show you a couple spots on the map, what the crop data will look like on the map, how to find, is this corn, is this wheat, is this alfalfa, etc. And really just ways that I personally use it, and hopefully you pick up a few things along the way. So we'll dive in here on the map. I'm looking at some random spots here in Idaho, Nevada. First and foremost, let's go to the layers. We'll go to trees, crops, and cover right here. And then, so here's the US crop distribution. We'll go ahead and turn that layer on. Do note that you can really customize what you want to see here. So if you go to the layer settings portion, corn is turned on right now, for example. All you have to do is click on that. Now you would not see corn on the map. So we've got corn, we've got soybeans, alfalfa, wheat, winter wheat. Lots of different stuff here. Some of it is going to be applicable and relevant for Western big game. Some of it not quite so much. I won't dive into a lot of that here. I'll just show you what's on the map and what to look for, and then you can do your own research if you want to learn a little more about what is more valuable. So again, just zooming into some random spots here just to show you what it will look like on the map. And already here I'm seeing quite a bit. The more you zoom in, a lot of times the more it will pull that information. And so a lot of ag land in this location. And to show you what I'm looking at here, I'll just turn it off. That way you can see the difference. So without that on, you can see fields, you can see a lot of pivots right here. And if you go ahead and turn that back on, your map becomes a little bit more colorful. All you have to do to determine what is just hover your cursor over it. So we've got a lot of grain here. We've got some potatoes in here. We've got some canola. We've got some hay, some alfalfa. And so with time, the more that you use this, the more that you will recognize. So right now, I can just recognize what hay and alfalfa looks like as I'm scrolling around the map, because that's a lot of the times those are the two big ones that I'm looking for. Say if I'm elk hunting or deer hunting, it's just going to be a little bit more prevalent in those areas. Let's see if we can find some that butt up next to some public and some cover. So again, a lot of ag land down here. Up here is National Forest. If we go down and we turn on the topo or even a hybrid and zoom in here, you'll start to see some different topography. We could go back to satellite, switch over to 3D, exaggerate some of that up just to kind of see what we're looking at. And really, this type of cover with this type of food source really, in my mind, is an overlooked opportunity for a lot of hunters. A lot of people want to get super far back in there, and if you have the means and the capability, that's great. But a lot of times, if you have the map and you can hunt these fringes, there's a lot of roads here and stuff, so this might not be a great example, but if you can find an area where you can hunt the fringes of private and public, especially as there's a lot of alfalfa, grain, wheat, there's a lot of fields here. To me, there's going to be a lot of elk and deer and game that will come up, find these timber pockets for cover and bed down throughout the day, and then in the evenings they're going to come down and they're going to hit these fields, and it's just going to be a lot more energy efficient for them to go down to an alfalfa field and feed all night than it is to try and browse up here and find some good feed. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. A lot of times it will look different on the map than this, but we'll just kind of pan around and see what we can find here. A lot of times too, so just to kind of look at this, like there's a main creek here. Obviously I'm looking for travel corridors if I am going to be hunting these fringes. guessing that animals are going to come down and feed on these crops at night, I'm going to look for travel corridors, maybe creek drainages, maybe saddles that I can catch them on the transition period back and forth. Also, another key thing that I like to do is, if possible, I really like to, even if you're not hunting that morning or that evening, drive by some of those fields, find a vantage point that you can glass down in there from public or from a road, and drive by and just glass them early in the mornings or late in the evenings right before the sun goes down, and just see what's hitting those fields. A lot of times you're going to know pretty quickly, if you are there at first light or last light, glassing those fields, if there's going to be a lot of game animals that are going to use those. And once you find those areas that those animals are using, then you go to the map and figure out, okay, how do I get in here? How do I hunt this most effectively? Maybe you're even knocking on that landowner's door to see if they allow permission. But, for another example, we got alfalfa down here. We have a little bit of grain throughout, some hay, some alfalfa, and again, butted up right next to a mountain range that has a lot of cover, a lot of timber, and I really could see that being a good transition. And especially as we turn on the topo portion of this here, this creek drainage here, probably some water down here in the bottom, some alfalfa, it's just really easy for those animals to come up, bed, find a north-facing slope, find a good bedding area, find a good bench, and spend their day. And then in the evenings, just travel straight down the creek bottom or through trails, hit this alfalfa, go right back up. And so really effective to find those quickly, to know what type of crops they are and how to hunt those. We'll zoom out, see if we can't find another area for an example here. See, we'll go down to Nevada. All right, so we're populating a lot of hay down here. Pretty easy one to see on the map. And so for me personally, I found really good luck with hay and alfalfa. It seems like it's just a magnet for deer and elk, even antelope here in the western states. And so it's kind of what we're looking at right now is alfalfa, hay, and next to some good public that I can find access into, and so on and so forth. So going back to the crops again, just want to let folks know, if you're looking for any particular crop, you can go ahead and turn them on and off. So if I just turn alfalfa off, turn hay off, now that disappears from my map. Go ahead and turn those back on. Now they'll be there. So you can customize what you're looking for. And again, play around with it and check out the areas that you hunt and the areas that you're scouting. Again, I just think that the crop data that we have within OnX is oftentimes overlooked and underutilized for Western big game hunting. So check it out this year. Hopefully it helps, and good luck this season.